Back in March 2016, I made a video in which I talked about the future of Xbox. At the time, some Xbox gamers were getting up in arms because Quantum Break was getting a simultaneous release on both PC and Xbox. I said then that I couldn't understand why people were so angry about it, and that I saw it as part of a bigger strategy for Xbox moving forward, with the Xbox brand coming to more and more products. Not everybody saw it that way, but if we look at where we are now, well, it's pretty clear that that was exactly what was going on. Phil Spencer became Vice President of Gaming at Xbox in 2014, and I think the strategy at Xbox began to change soon after. Now, whether this strategy comes entirely from Spencer or is more a team effort, I've no idea, but one thing is now clear. Quantum Break was a pointer to what we could see moving forwards. Fast forward to this week, and I think we can see this strategy coming to full fruition. Apart from the Inside Xbox in April, which overpromised and underdelivered, the Xbox messaging over the last year or so has been fantastic. Phil Spencer and others have been clear, upfront and confident as regards the hardware and services, and I think the July showcase next week may finally give us something to cheer about as regards the games we can expect from Microsoft Studios. The one thing we hadn't heard all that much about, though, was Project xCloud. Now, I've been part of the xCloud preview for some time now, and as a free service, I can tell you it's been pretty terrific, with a whole host of games on offer, a clean and simple interface, and pretty decent streaming as well, for the most part. What I think is best about the service, though, is how it seemingly fits with all the other services Microsoft are offering. I've been speculating for ages that xCloud could become part of Game Pass, and I've always hoped that that would be the case, while fearing that Microsoft might balls it up, because, Microsoft on occasion like to do a Microsoft. And I was worried that they might have it as a separate service. All the noises coming out of Xbox have been promising, but it wouldn't be the first time that Microsoft dropped a bollock with stuff like this, so I've been metaphorically holding my breath for months. And this week, well, I finally exhaled, so I'm no longer blue around the gills. Project xCloud is going to be available to the general gaming community as part of Game Pass Ultimate from September. And that's exactly the news I was hoping for. It would seem to be absolutely the right strategy for Xbox, and it offers an incredibly compelling service to Xbox and other gamers. Just think about it. You sign up for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and you will have access to a massive library of games from your Xbox, your PC, your phone, your tablet, literally anywhere. Well, not literally, you won't have access to it from your fridge, but, you never know what's going to happen in the future. And not only that, you'll have access to the best possible version of that game, no matter what device you're using. And sorry, I got into the marketing speak there, but it's true. Smart Delivery's already taken care of that on the Xbox, and xCloud seems to be there to fill the gaps. Take a controller and your phone with you when you stay at a hotel, and you can literally carry on playing the game you were playing on your Xbox the previous evening. Go to a friend's house, log onto your account, and his Xbox can do the same. And this is something that Microsoft seem to be doing that nobody else is offering. I know that's kind of what you can do with Stadia, and I'll talk about Stadia a little bit in a minute, but it's not really the same because, well, Stadia's only streaming. And Sony's saves are all over the place, and don't even get me on Nintendo and the way they handle saves. With Microsoft, it's seamless. And with Game Pass and xCloud, it will continue to be seamless. Go anywhere you like and carry on playing the game you were playing, whatever system you were playing it on before. It's really freeing in terms of being a gamer to be able to just do that and not have to worry about it. I know sometimes when I sit down on a different PlayStation, I have to make sure I download the save, or I have to make sure it's uploaded, so next time I go back to my primary PlayStation, I can carry on playing. And it's a pain in the neck. If something goes wrong, you lose your save. Doesn't happen with Microsoft. And this, moving forward, with all these different services, is going to be a big deal. It's an incredibly exciting concept, and I know I might be repeating myself here, but I see it as the final piece in the puzzle that was started by Xbox as far back as 2014. And, maybe earlier, maybe before Phil Spencer got involved. Who knows? Certainly, Phil Spencer's been driving this. Look, it's not usual for me to get excited, and those of you who follow me regular know that I'm more likely to moan about the industry than praise it, but I'm honestly finding it really hard to criticise Microsoft and what they're doing here. I think the idea of having multiple ways to deliver games depending on the hardware and circumstances is extremely well thought out and actually addresses real-world problems in a way that a service like Google Stadia doesn't. Google has all its eggs in one basket with Stadia, and they're limiting their reach because of it. If you have poor internet or data caps or both, well, you simply can't consider Stadia. And I know there's other reasons to not consider Stadia, but we're not going to go into those here. The fact is, with Game Pass, you're not restricted in the same way. Live in an area with poor internet? Well, get an Xbox and preload your game, or buy them on disc in the old-fashioned way. Or download them to your PC and play them from there. If you're out on a trip with your phone, stream the game using xCloud. The only thing still missing is xCloud for PC, which does mean you'd need a decent rig because you're having to download the games and play them using the power of your PC rather than what's going on in the cloud. But, that's going to happen down the line. xCloud for PC is coming. And it's, we just have to wait and hear what they're going to be doing with that. Obviously, though, there are some caveats. The game library on Xbox, PC and xCloud varies, which can get a little bit confusing, believe me. And, Stadia has the advantage there because their library is uniform. So whatever you play on, it's exactly the same games. The streaming side of things can be a bit flaky. But the reality is that's true of all streaming services. And as I said before, you're not tied to streaming like you are with Stadia. So if you've got a dodgy connection and you've got access to an Xbox, you'll get the best version of that game, assuming you're not playing an online game. And that's a whole nother argument. The other thing that I find a little bit odd at this stage is that there's no information yet about pricing for xCloud as a standalone service for those who don't want to commit to Game Pass Ultimate. And I do think we'll hear more about that in the coming months, but I would like to know sooner rather than later. Obviously, it's not affecting me, but the more we can know about the different pricing structures and see how transparent it is and, understand how this is all going to work, the better, because I'm sure there are some people out there who just want to try xCloud, and Microsoft should be giving them that option. My biggest concern, though, is that this strategy is all about locking gamers into the Xbox infrastructure. And that's something we need to keep an eye on, along with any price hikes if Xbox become dominant or just have a large market share. With more and more of these types of services, we could see gaming begin to fragment, just as we're seeing now with TV and movies. And honestly, that flies in the face of what Phil Spencer has stated as his goal for Xbox moving forward. He's said he doesn't want barriers for entry. He wants people to have access to the games all over. I think what he means is he wants people to have access to their games that belong to the Xbox infrastructure from all over. But hey, This is one piece of news, though, that I've been hoping to hear for a long time. And for once, I think Microsoft has delivered. This, to me, is more exciting than Velocity Architecture or any other number of things that they've announced recently. xCloud coming to Game Pass is a big deal. And let's hope next week they do something similar with games and we get good news there. Because if they do, and we see some great games to go along with these great services and these exciting announcements, then next gen is going to be incredibly exciting. And, you know my view on some of the issues with gaming and all the other problems. But this is exciting. I think if we see games next week, that's it then. Microsoft have given us everything we could have expected and hoped for. And if they do, well, over to you, Sony. It's going to be very, very interesting. But anyway, look, that's what I think. You guys might have a completely different take on all this. And if you do, let me know in the comments. And as ever, we can have a chat about it. But in the meantime, I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of tea, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.